Hey guys, welcome to another video. If you're new here, my name is Kiara and I'm a full-time crochet business owner. And in this video, I will be showing you guys everything I crocheted in about a week. I think like maybe 6 days technically, but I'm just gonna say a week. And I will have you guys guess how many plushies or items I crocheted in that week. I don't even know, I didn't count them yet, so it's gonna be a surprise for all of us at the end. So first, I'm going to show you guys like a little sneak peek of my pile of plushies that I'll be showing you guys. And then after that, I'll show you guys them like one by one, or, you know, if I made more of one than a certain thing, I'm going to show you guys and just talk about them a little bit, tell you guys if there's a pattern or tutorial available or all that kind of stuff. Please don't mind the mess around all the plushies. I'm just that kind of person that does not put my stuff away, but I know exactly where everything is. So here's the sneak peek of all the items I crocheted in a week. Also, before we get started, I do want to add there are a few items missing from that pile that I did crochet in the last week. I don't have them here because my mom also does markets with my items where she lives, and my grandparents were going to visit them and they actually left today. So yesterday I got a little bag of stuff ready to send for my mom for more inventory, and I did take a few items out of the ones that I did make in the past week, so I don't have them here with me, so I won't count them at the end in like everything I crocheted, but I did want to add like I did make a few other things, and when I show you guys some things, if I have only a few here but I did send some with my mom or for my mom, I might mention, oh, I actually made more of these, but this many went to my mom. So anyways, let's get started and I will show you guys everything. So first, I have a weighted plushie. This one might look a little weird just when I hold it like this because usually like I just lay them flat on my table at markets and stuff. And these are really meant to like lay flat on your chest for anxiety, kind of like a weighted blanket, like the same concept. And my mom sews weighted pouches and then she fills them with plastic and glass little beads. And then I crochet around that pouch. So I just freehand these. My mom must kind of have like a template or something that she uses to make the pouches always the same size. I have no idea. She sews, I don't sew. So yeah, I just freehand them, make them the right size for the pouch. I basically always make them the same because the pouches are always the same. But these have been pretty popular this year. Like obviously they are higher priced because the weighted materials are quite expensive. So I do have to take that into consideration when I price these guys, but even though they are higher priced, they've been selling okay this year so far. Now I have a different weighted plushie. It's a weighted chicken, so it looks just like a big chicken, but there is a round weighted pouch in here. Again, I just crochet around it. You can probably tell by the shape though, it is kind of based on like the Mabel chicken by Oak and Marlow. I've never used that pattern, but I mean, the shape is like similar, but yeah, again, I just freehand it to fit it around the pouch because for the round ones, my mom makes 3 different sizes and weights of round pouches. This is the biggest and heaviest one, but I do have like 2 smaller sizes, so of course I have to adjust my chicken size for the size of the pouch. But these weighted chickens have been very, very popular this year. Again, they're higher priced than they would be if they weren't weighted, but even though they are higher priced and they are weighted, they've been very popular. And I think at markets, a lot of people, like, they see the big chickens from far, so they come in my booth and they're like, oh my god, like, the big chicken is so cute. And then I tell them that it's weighted and they actually pick it up and everything. Sometimes that's the last thing they need to hear before they're like, oh my god, okay, I'm buying it. The fact that it's weighted is just perfect. A lot of people use these as door stoppers or even for anxiety to put on your chest. They just serve so many purposes. Then I made 3 just mini chickens. I'm trying to hold them. Yeah, they kind of look like the big weighted chicken. They're just very tiny and obviously not weighted. I have been running pretty low on these. They've been really popular this year. Again, I just freehand them, but they are kind of based on like the shape of the Mabel chicken. Now I know the Mabel chicken is like bigger, so I'm not sure if that same creator has like the smaller chicken pattern. I don't know, but I've seen a lot of these from different creators. I don't know, I just freehand mine. But there's definitely patterns for something similar to this out there. Then I made a giant cat. I mean, I say giant, it's not the biggest thing ever, but it's still pretty big. Again, I just freehanded this one. A lot of this stuff is freehanded. I'm just gonna stop saying if it's freehanded, but if I don't say anything, it was freehanded. If I mention there's a pattern or tutorial available, then obviously there's that. I actually sold my giant cat like this at my last market, so I figured I might as well make another one because so many cat lovers see the big cat and they're like, oh, that's so cute. Sometimes they end up buying the big one, or sometimes they end up buying like a smaller version of the big cat. It just catches a lot of people's attention, and I think it's just super cute. Then I have two smaller cats. These ones might look a little like busy, you know, the color changes might be a lot. I mean, color changes. I didn't change the color. The yarn was just variegated like that. But I think it's a good cat color because I'm pretty sure some cats are like these colors. Maybe not so many different times that the color changes on the cat, but I think it's a good cat color. I actually made 3 of these, and one of them did go for my mom's market, so I don't have the third one here, but I do have 2 here. These cats like this have been super popular, just cats in general. I don't know if the cat lovers are really coming out to the markets this year, but just cats in general have been selling really, really well. Next, I have this dog. This is actually not for like markets, but I did make it in the past week. So at the last market I did, someone came into my booth with their dog and they wanted to custom order a dog to look like their dog. So this is it. I sent them a picture and they said it was perfect and they'll be picking it up next week at next week's market. So yeah, I think I did a pretty good job. I think it looks a lot like their dog. So yeah, I just freehanded this one though. Like, I was pretty proud that I was just like able to freehand the dog based on the picture of the real dog. I love doing things like that. So yeah, it even has like the tail back here. I tried to match up the white spots as much as possible. So yeah, it's pretty fun to make. Then I have 2 snakes. I like making snakes in like variegated yarns. I think it just makes like really cool patterns, and I think it just, I don't know, it's just cool. So yeah, I have this like blue and all these like sea colors, I guess. That's what it reminds me of. And then they have like snake eyes like this. And then the other one, I started with like this variegated yarn and then I thought I had enough, but turns out I didn't, and I didn't have like another ball of this yarn. So I had to kind of improvise and just use a solid color that I think matched with like the variegated yarn just to finish off the tail. So yeah, some people might have just like undo the whole thing and do something else with it, but these like odd plushies that sometimes don't necessarily turn out the way you wanted them to, as long as it's not affecting the quality of the plushie, usually I leave them because there's something for everyone out there, and someone might see this snake compared to all of my other snakes that are all the same color and might just pick this one because it's different. Some people just like the things that are just different and a bit odd. So I always leave them, obviously, if there's no quality issue or anything like that. But if it's just like the odd one out, I think it's still cute to have. Then I made a dragon. This is Dazzle the Dragon, my own pattern that you can find in my Etsy and coffee shop. I use these really silly eyes, and honestly I think they're just so funny and they just suit the dragon very well. It makes him look a little less scary, a little less intimidating. I think it just makes him look silly. Then there's like wings and all that stuff. So yeah, this is pretty fun to make. I haven't made a dragon actually in a while, so it was just fun to make one. Then I have 3 chicken nuggets. These, like, I haven't made chicken nuggets in a long time, and then over time they were just selling at markets, and then I was like, oh, okay, I'm running low, so I had to make more. There is a tutorial for these. It will be linked in the description for you guys. They're super, super quick to make, and everyone just loves them. They're super silly. Then I have 1 jumbo sea turtle. I say jumbo. To some people that might be just a regular size plushie, but I usually make like smaller plushies, so this is a bigger plushie in my booth, obviously not the biggest. And then I used these yellow eyes like this. I actually got safety eyes that had like all different colored pupils, and then I saw the yellow ones and was like, I have no idea what I'm gonna use the yellow ones for. And then I was making this turtle and I wasn't sure exactly what eyes I was gonna use, and then I was like, why not try to use the yellow pupils since there is yellow on the shell, and just try to match the colors around to the shell. So I actually hand painted the like outside of the eyes, and I think it looks pretty cool. Maybe a bit scary, but I think it looks pretty cool. Then I have 4 medium sea turtles. I will show you guys a size comparison to the medium one and then the jumbo one after. I actually have a smaller one that I made too that I'm going to show you guys after this. So I'm going to show you guys the 3 different sizes that I have all like beside each other. So yeah, I actually made 5 medium sea turtles. One of them went with my mom, but I am showing you guys 4 of them. So I'm going to show you guys them like one by one to show you the different color combinations that I made. So I have, these two have like the same color body and then just different colored shells, but I mean it's like all blue, all a mix of blue I guess. And they all have glittery eyes, which I think is super cute. Then we have a purple and whatever different colors are on the shell, bunch of different colors, and then the eyes are glittery and yellow to match the shell. And then we have a pink and purple one. I love these colors, I think it's super cute, and pink glittery eyes. So all of these sea turtles are actually my own pattern. It's actually a pattern bundle, so it comes with 2 sizes of sea turtles. In the pattern, this is the smaller size turtle, and then my jumbo one is the bigger size. So I will show you guys the smaller sea turtle that I have and explain why it's smaller too, and then show you guys all the different sizes all beside each other. So this is the smaller sea turtle. I actually used the same pattern as my medium sea turtle, but it's just smaller yarn and a smaller hook, so it just came out smaller, but it is the same smaller turtle that is in the pattern bundle. Again, I made 2 of these in the same color, and one of them went with my mom, so I only have 1 to show you. And these are all 3 sizes of sea turtles that I offer at markets. So we have the smaller one, the medium one, and the jumbo one. So I think it's just nice to have all these different sizes. They obviously have different price points because of their different sizes. So I think it's just great. Then I made 2 axolotls. These are my smaller size of axolotls. I do have bigger axolotls still in my inventory, but I was completely sold out of smaller ones. So I made 2 at least just to replenish a little bit. Axolotls, they were really popular like 3 years ago, and now like they do sell once in a while, but I hadn't made axolotls in a very long time, and then it just so happened that now I was like sold out of them, but it took a while for me to sell all the ones I had already made. So it's like I made 2 now, but it might take a very long time for these 2 to sell. They're just not as popular as they used to be, but I guess the trend kind of died down for me, at least. That's like what I find. For you guys, they might still be a bestseller, I don't know. But I made these 2, replenish a bit. We'll see how long it takes for those 2 to sell. Then I have these 2 silly frogs in like this mint color. Because I use like thick yarn, their arms and legs kind of curl like this, and I think it's really funny. A lot of people find it funny. So I just freehanded these, but they are based on the original Leggy frog by KnotJadedCo. Again, I've never used that pattern, but obviously like I got inspired a little bit. So if you were looking for a pattern to make frogs like this, I would recommend going to check out their patterns for the Leggy frogs. Obviously they're a bit different, but still inspired by that. So I think these are really silly and cute, and I just love making them. Then I have 2 medium bees. I say medium because I have smaller sized bees in my inventory. I didn't make any smaller bees this week, and I usually have like a giant bee. I just haven't made one in a while because I don't think I have enough yellow to make a giant bee. So I just been making the medium bees, and they've been selling really well like the past few events. It's like at the beginning of the year they were selling okay, but the past few events I've been having a hard time keeping these in stock. It's just so random. But I made 2 more, kind of a brighter yellow and a darker yellow, so just wanted to replenish these a little bit. Then I have the random little jellyfish. I use the same eyes as the dragon, and I think they look really cool on the dragon, but I think on this jellyfish it looks a bit creepy, so I might just keep them for like dragons. I don't know, I just have to try it on different things, see what they look best on. This was my first time like on this jellyfish and the dragon. It was my first time using these kinds of silly eyes with like the black dot. So it's just kind of trying out different things, seeing what they look better on. I don't think I'll be using them on jellyfishes again because I think it looks a bit creepy, but it might be perfect for someone, you know? Sometimes some people like the silly stuff. So yeah, I just doubled up some yarn for this with pink acrylic yarn and like a gray velvet yarn. So I think it just turned out really cute. Then I have 4 rubber duckies. I started making these just kind of like recently and they've been selling incredibly well. Again, having a hard time keeping these in stock. So I made 2 in a brighter yellow and 2 in like a darker yellow. I think it's fun to have the 2 different yellows. So yeah, they've just been really popular. I don't know what it is. People just love them. Maybe the yellow is just very like, it attracts people's eyes and then that's one of the first things that they see and then they end up picking it. I have no idea, but they've just been crazy popular. Then I made 4 of these hot dogs. I am holding all of them. I just cannot show you all of them at the same time. So I have, I guess, 2 different kinds of hot dog. They're the same, but so I just used a different yarn for like the body and like the dog itself. So 2 of them are with this yarn and then 2 of them are with this yarn. I will try to put them down to show you the differences like side by side. So this is them. Like this is a bit darker, I guess, a bit of a darker color for the dog. This is a different yarn that I've just started using recently because this is the Michaels yarn and it's been like out of stock at all times, so it's getting really hard to find, so I had to find an alternative and I finally found it. It's actually a yarn on Temu, however you want to say it, and it's just perfect. Like it took me forever to find the perfect hot dog yarn. Now I know not everybody wants to shop on Temu. That's okay if you don't want to, but I found the perfect hot dog yarn, so I'm very happy about that. So yeah, I made 4 of these total. And these hot dogs are actually my own pattern that you can find in my Etsy and coffee shop. It will be linked in the description. Now the last 3 items, and these are pretty special. So I guess they're all the same but a bit different. So the first one is just a white goose, or like I guess this is not technically white, it's like a cream-ish color. Anyways, I've been making these a bit recently and they've been selling really well. Again, kind of like the rubber duckies. People just love them. And I was asked a few times if I had a pattern for this, but I was just freehanding them for a while. And then someone had actually custom ordered a goose like this, but to look like a Canadian goose. And then I made it and never thought really anything of it. And then I was like, people keep asking me for a pattern for this, but there's already so many white goose patterns out there. Not necessarily in this style, but just so many white goose patterns out there. So I decided to write the pattern for the Canadian goose, which I will show you in a second. And it's very, very easily adaptable to make just into a white goose like this. So I have 2 Canadian geese. You might not be able to see their beak very well because it's also black. And also the fact, like the lighting is not helping. I might add a picture of them that looks a lot better after, but I made 2. And yeah, so as you can see, there's a lot of color changes in this goose, but you could very easily make the whole body white and then just make the legs and the beak yellow or orange or whatever, and it can look like the white goose. So it's very easily adaptable, but I thought the Canadian goose is just perfect. I'm Canadian, and I mean, I think these would just sell really well at markets, especially like where I do markets. There's a lot of tourists that come visit from other countries that might want like a Canadian souvenir. So I think these are just perfect. They're just fun to make too for any occasion really. So this pattern is actually getting tested right now. I wrote it out and everything, and I picked some testers, and so it's getting tested. This pattern will be released in just over a week. So if you're watching this video right when I posted it, the pattern will not be released just yet, but as soon as it's released, I will go and add the link to the Canadian goose pattern in the description of this video for you guys. So here's a better picture of the Canadian geese. Actually, today I found out that a group of geese is called a gaggle. I just googled it because I wanted to make a post on Instagram just showing my geese, and I was like, oh, I wonder what a group of geese is called. So I googled it, and it's actually a gaggle. I would not have guessed that. I didn't know that. I don't know if you guys knew that, but I thought that was like a fun fact, so I kind of added it into my Instagram post. I thought it was interesting. So there is my small gaggle of geese, and hopefully you guys can make a gaggle of geese soon also. So that's everything I crocheted in the past week. So now it's time to go count all of those items, and I will get back to you with a number. If you haven't already, make sure to go leave your guess in the comments. Try to guess how many items I made in a week, and we will see who was closest. I just counted all the plushies that I made in the past week, so drum roll. I made a total of 39 plushies in the past week. Would have been nice if I could make one more, just to reach 40, but 39 plushies is nice in a week. Obviously some took longer than others, and I mean designing the whole goose pattern took like pretty long, you know, so I wasn't just sitting there crocheting for that whole time. So I'm pretty happy with everything I crocheted in the past week. I think it's awesome, and I'm just so excited to release that goose pattern for you guys. It's something that I've been thinking about doing for a little bit, but I just haven't had time since markets were just kind of insane. But I did make the time to write that pattern, and I'm just so excited. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching everything I crocheted in the last week. I'm excited to see also who's closest to guessing how many items I did make in a week. That's always fun. So yeah, I had a lot of fun showing you guys all of these items. Also, like I mentioned for a few things, the patterns and tutorials available for anything, and if it was like inspired by a certain item by someone else, it will all be linked in the description for you guys. So that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for more videos, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!